data types. So first, what is data type? Data types are declarations for variables which determine the type and size of data associated with variables. Now first let's discuss about primitive data types. First is integer, which is used to store whole numbers that can be 0, positive or negative values, but we cannot store any decimal values using the int data type. Next is char, which is used to store a single character. Float is used to store decimal numbers with single precision, while double is used to store decimal numbers with double precision. Float takes up about 4 bytes of memory space, while double takes up about 8 bytes of memory space. Next is void. It is an incomplete type. It means nothing or no type. For example, if a function is not returning any value, its return type should be void. Next is long or short. These are in data types, but these are type specifiers and are used usually with integer, float, or double data types. Next is signed or unsigned, which are also type modifiers. Unsigned is used when we want to declare a variable that can only hold positive values, while signed is used when a variable is allowed to store either positive or negative values. These type modifiers alter the data storage of data type. We can use the size of operator to check the size of a variable. Now let's discuss about the size and range of values that can be stored in these data types. So char takes up about 1 byte of memory space, integer takes up 2 bytes, long takes up 4 bytes, float also takes up 4 bytes, while double takes 8 bytes because it stores decimal values in double precision, and long double takes up 10 bytes. Now the range of the values that is stored by the data type can be calculated using a formula, that is 2 to the power number of bits. Now 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So for character, suppose we are taking the formula 2 to the power number of bits, so it will be 2 to the power 8, which is 256. And since char can store values for both positive and negative, so the range is split from -128 to 127. But in case of unsigned char, which can only take positive values, the range is from 0 to 255. Now this format specifiers are used for input and output purposes. These are used so that the compiler can understand what type of data is taken during input, and using this we can also print the value stored in a variable. Now let's have a look at a code where we are using these primitive data types. Here in this code we are declaring an integer variable called age, float variable called interest, a character type variable storing a single character h, and a double type variable called large, which is storing this decimal point number. And using this printf function we are printing it. First build it and then run it. This is the output. Further, we discuss about derived data types, which are derived from primitive data types. There are 3 types of derived data types, namely function, array, and pointer. Function is a named block of code that is defined to perform a specific, well-defined task. It is used to save the user the trouble of writing the same lines of code again and again. We will discuss about functions in detail in a later video. Now, array is a collection of homogeneous values stored at continuous memory location. We will also discuss about array later. Pointers are variables need to store the address of another variable. Now, next is the user-defined data type. Data types which are defined by the user according to their requirement are known as user-defined data type. C has a feature called type definition, which allows programmers to define their identifier that could represent an existing data type. Now there are 3 types of user-defined data type, namely structure, union, and enumeration. Structure is defined using the struct keyword and is used to store data items of different data types under a single name. Union is a collection of variables of different data types in the same memory location. The main difference between structure and union is that structures allocate enough space to store all of the fields in the structure, while unions only allocate enough space to store the largest field listed, and all the fields are stored in the same space. Enumeration is defined using the enum keyword. It consists of integral constants and each of them is assigned with a specific name. Now that's all for now. Thank